It's 11:25. We will be starting again now. I have a presentation for you on TaxSlayer. Every year they do updates, improvements. They call them enhancements. And so I would want to share those with you now so that you can be aware of any changes that are in the software when you get there. And I'm sure you've already gone there and maybe seen some of them yourself. TaxSlayer updates and questions and answers too. With the 2021 tax law changes, you must be able to explain differences between 2020 and 2021 returns for taxpayers, law changes, withholding changes, or even if the taxpayer situation changes and they don't understand why all of a sudden they have more tax to pay or why they're getting more back, we need to be able to explain that to them. The biggest change that you might see in TaxSlayer this year is the new customer portal. A taxpayer has the ability to upload their documents right straight into TaxSlayer. So that eliminates the need for the special roles that we had last year for taking care of that in a lot of ways. Now, we will still be doing scanning of documents in some districts. I don't think we're going to do that in our district. But it also means that because they can be uploaded directly, we don't have to have to be able to send their documents from one place to another because they'll already be inside of TaxSlayer. I cannot show you what that looks like because it is only going to be available in the production lab. And no one is supposed to go to the production lab to see how that works unless you want to be preparing your own taxes or taxes for a friend or relative. But do not go into the production lab and create any false or fake returns in order to see how the customer portal works.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
Do you think, given the availability of this function, that we should distribute those scanners that I had given to you to the sites so that they could scan PA 1000 documents to be uploaded?
Now that's an interesting question. I will have to think on that a little bit. See, I don't even know enough about it, how it's going to work to be able to give you an answer for the question.
Okay, we may have to wait until after February 1st.
That's a good question. Let me go to this BrainShark website. Like, I didn't bother because I didn't think that it was going to probably apply to anything that ever happens at my site.
Okay. Also, Rachel and Ann both asked the same question. What is the production lab? What is the live lab? When we go to vita.taxslayerpro.com, there are 3 boxes. There's the practice lab, which is the far left. The live is the middle, and the blog is the right. We're talking about, after February 1st, you will only click on the center box, and that's where you will find BrainShark.
Right, and I'm sorry, that's terminology that I think I'm the only one that calls it the production lab because we're actually producing returns there as opposed to practice. Yeah. All right, somebody's wanting in, excuse me. Okay. All right. What else can you do at the customer portal? Well, I think I already explained everything from on this slide already. Essentially, you could have an ongoing talk with a taxpayer while you're working on their return. And they will be at their house and you be at your house, and you could be, I believe, chatting or at least emailing back and forth very easily through this customer portal place, or they could ask questions. It's not available in the practice lab or for any tax returns before 2021. So that means if we are actually in the live lab and doing a return for 2020, we will not be able to have the customer portal. Right, so what's inside of TaxSlayer as far as enhancements go that you should be able to see in the practice lab? On the basic information page, you can actually put in the client's email addresses. I personally don't know why you would want to do that. In my opinion, that's just another way to allow for fraud, because we all know that Pennsylvania or the IRS will not contact you by email. On the e-file page, it's going to look like a menu like this. Instead of in the vertical form, now it's in a horizontal form, and every one of these places will be visited along the way. There's going to be choices, of course. More of the choices. You have access to the return menu. They say that it's going to be more efficient for the quality review process, but I don't know. Now, I understand that this is up and running already in Practice Lab, so you could go and visit this even today if you wanted to. I believe they uploaded this to the Practice Lab just yesterday morning.
Let me just confirm and reiterate that. When you are doing your NTTC problems, you can, effective yesterday, you can now carry it all the way through to the final page. I urge that you do that. Normally, we stop at the summary page and we don't worry about what goes on afterwards because we don't have access. Last year, we didn't have access to it until February 1st. If we have access to these e-file pages, it is really important that you work through these pages and ask questions if there's stuff that you don't understand on the pages.
Right, and I do think, as Steve says, I do think you are going to have access to these pages even in the Practice Lab. Okay, what else can you see there? You will be able to add notes from anywhere inside of the e-file section. Prior to this, there was only like 1 or 2 places where you could do it. And you can see here on the horizontal line at the bottom where a lot of things have already been checked off, but there's still other areas that aren't. So you can just like skip around and visit whichever ones you need to. It's not like you have to go through each one in order. You will have an ability to select an ERO if it's different than the login values. I don't think this probably will be a problem for us because all of our numbers will be set ahead of time. You will have the ability to see the refund monitor on the right-hand side. Before in the e-file process, you had to click on a special box to see how much the refund or the payment was going to be. But now the refund monitor will continue to be there. You will have the ability to see the refund monitor again on a different page. I mean, I think it's just going to continue to be there all the time. And for whatever reason, they're saying that this should help to reduce the number of state returns that are being marked as paper. And I don't know what that refers to. All I'm doing is just giving information that TaxSlayer gave to me. Because I didn't actually go out and look at this myself, I don't know. Some of this information I can't really tell you too much detail on. There's a fees tab. It can be bypassed, which we don't charge any fees, so we just want to go past those tabs. Putting in the PA driver's license number is still optional. I didn't put any in myself last year. I don't intend to this year. These are the consent pages. They have them written out in detail in case you want to look at them. They will be in the same order as they are in the intake booklet, so that once we get in mind and you know exactly which one's which, we should be able to just click, click, click and go right through these pages. The formatting of the questions is now changed, and they are now marked as required. The ones that are needed are going to be required. That's it. The other ones, I'm assuming that we can just skip through them. Custom credits does not apply for us, but it's still an option. We are not the only users of TaxSlayer. Vita is not the only user of TaxSlayer. There's lots of organizations and even professional accountants that use this. So every time you click continue, you will save everything on the previous tab that you were at. On the very end submission page, you will see this at the bottom. Of course, the money values will be different. The first section will allow the preparer and the quality reviewer a quick look at how each return is currently set to be electronically filed. And it will show all the money amounts, the refunds, the amount due. It makes it very easy to change direct deposit information again. Again, this is on the very last page, so that means that this page is different than the input page for the bank account information, because this has gone on to where the submission page is. You will have an opportunity to print the return from this page. The return tags, you can have up to 12, and they're listed in now, and I was like, I'm so glad they did this. They have them in a standard column formatting. Like before, they were just sort of like thrown out there. But they're all going to be in columns now. You can have up to 12 different ones. Again, on the final pages, you have the ability to mark the return ready for review or complete. Okay, those are all the enhancements that I have to show you on TaxSlayer proper. I do know, and you all probably already know too, if you've been in Practice Lab at all, that there's already been some other changes. These are not considered to be enhancements as much as they are considered to be related to tax law updates. So go ahead.
Yeah, may I interrupt you since you're going to go to the state?
Yeah.
I actually went into Practice Lab and I went through the e-file pages because they're there.
Uh-huh.
And if you would unshare your screen, I'd like to share my screen for a half second.
Sure, that's fine. Let me get there. Okay. Share a tab.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to
You're trying to find out which one it is.
Yeah, I know. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. This is the final page of the e-file. Everything that Pat showed you is absolutely the same way. Here's the top of the page, and you'll see here the check marks. And this thing called custom credits that are on here, I have no idea what that is. But the interesting part is you have taxpayer electronic signature. Now, understand, I'm showing you this because I don't understand what we're looking at. So if you have questions, I don't have answers. But we have the ability for a taxpayer to electronically sign.
Can you write on that? Can you print on there?
Edit signature.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I can click on here.
But you can't really write.
but it shows up. So yes,
Okay.
obviously we have the ability to write.
So
Here's
I
the
wonder if
state.
that goes to the 8879 somehow. We'll explore it later.
Yeah.
Hey, try click and drag.
Yeah. Like hold your clicker down. You have to go
Yeah.
into the edit place.
That's what I tried. Edit.
Now just click it. There you
Oh,
go.
there you go. Oh,
So you
yeah.
can.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how you do it. You can sign. You can have them sign their name right there on the screen.
But we have to figure
Okay.
out where that goes, if it goes anywhere.
I can print it and find out. Okay. Here's your pins. Now, this is why I wanted to interrupt Pat, because this is new. First of all, on the right side of the screen here, you have all the information about the client. No big deal. But down here, we have the preparer and we have an email address. My assumption is this is going to be your login address, which means it's going to be your AARP number. That is a concern that we're going to need to address. Also, this box up here where they want us to electronically sign it. Do they really want us to electronically sign it? I hope the heck not. And if you want to share documents, here's where you enter your email information. So TaxSlayer is entering the 21st century. And is making changes that National is going to have to address as to whether those things are in scope or out of scope, because I know none of us want to have our personal name attached to a tax return. Okay, there's the fee information, which of course is 0, and here are your tags and your transmit information. And of course, right now, all you have the option is to save and exit. So who was I in? I think I was in Richard
Somebody
Cook.
Cook, yeah.
So let's go view and print the return. No, it does not transfer.
Okay, I was just curious.
You know, it's an absolutely legitimate question, because I was feared that it would myself. But that could just be because they haven't done it yet for Practice Lab.
That's true too.
So this is something that we're going to have to ask.
I'll go out and access that brain jerk piece and tell you
Yeah.
about it after lunch.
Okay, I will unshare.
Okay.
Unless there's some questions. Are there
Yeah,
any questions
I
out
see
there?
I'm seeing the questions here. Who sees the notes that are entered, which I talked about it in the presentation? The notes are seen by anyone who goes back in there and accesses that return. In other words, probably just the preparer or a reviewer.
They are private in the sense they are not printed as part of what the client gets.
Right, and I'd say probably 95% of the time, I know for me personally anyways, I won't email if there's any notes still sitting in there. If we rectified the situation, then I take the notes back out again.
Okay, and then Joe asked a question about the print packet. I have always created a unique print package, and let me see if I can get back there and show that to you. Where's the print button? Oh, I have to go through this nonsense first.
You had a print on that signature page,
I know, I have to get back to the page.
So we can't just go there.
No, you just can't go there.
I thought we could just click on submission page up at the top and it would take us there.
Okay. So I'm going to share my, I'm still sharing my screen. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
This is what the options that National provides to us for the print copy. I have for years created my own unique print package for Squirrel Hill, which gets rid of a lot of the paraphernalia like consent forms and you know, a lot of the wasted paper that these things have. I will make that print set available to the LCs, and they will be able to add them to their sites to choose what they want to do. Okay, and with that, I will unshare.
Okay, thank you.
Before you unshare, can you try something while you're in here? Can you go back up to that signature, edit signature?
Yeah.
And see if you could type something in there with a
No.
keyboard?
No,
You
no,
cannot?
I tried that.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, you see, all I could do is click.
okay.
So, and then I did my keyboard and nothing happens.
Okay.
But because they want a signature, so how many of us know how to sign our names on a mouse? And the answer is none of us. Does that look like my name? No. Okay.
Okay, that's good. All right, I only have a couple more slides, but I do want to share them with you. Okay, this refers back to, well, no, it doesn't refer back to, sorry. TaxSlayer has a point of contact for the state, our state. It used to be me until it was just like way too much work. And so now it's somebody in the eastern part of the state, and that's okay. But because we have a point of contact with TaxSlayer here in our state, then that means that nobody, like myself, I don't contact TaxSlayer because I'm not the point of contact. Steve doesn't contact TaxSlayer. Nobody contacts TaxSlayer. If you think there's a problem with the software that is not working correctly, then you need to let your site coordinator know, and the site coordinator will replicate the problem and then pass it on to the district coordinator, and the district coordinator will probably pass it on to me if that, again, it can be replicated. And if I can replicate it, then I send it on to the point of contact for the state who gets in touch with TaxSlayer. Other than that, if you want to contact TaxSlayer separately with suggestions on how to improve their software, that would be great.
There's one exception to that rule.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
That is,
sorry.
if you are working in a return
Yeah.
and you have a specific problem with the return that relates to that particular issue, your local coordinator can contact TaxSlayer for that specific return. But if it is a general issue relating to many returns, you please go through the process of sending it up the line.
Thank you. I forgot about that. All right. And you know what? And just an aside, and kind of an aside too, same thing at the portal. Like, if there are problems with things going on at the portal, you can't find this, you can't find that, you need this, you need that, it's not working correctly, do not submit a ticket until you bring it to the attention of somebody else in the district first. And then if that person tells you to submit a ticket to get this corrected, whatever the problem is, then you do so, but you copy that person on it. And you'll see, if you ever have to go and submit a ticket at the portal, you'll see how to copy somebody on it. But there again, we don't want to be storming the portal with tickets unnecessarily, because somebody else in the district can probably resolve your problem for you most of the time. All right, any questions on anything that I showed you or discussed?
Okay. One other point that Pat and I talked about right before the meeting started, just to reiterate several dates. Again, for certification purposes, I must have the information by January 15th, which I have no idea what day of the week that is, whatever that Friday is for that week. It is because I have to turn it around and give it to the state no later than the 24th. And I'm asking by the 15th because some people are always late. It doesn't matter what the issue is, they're always late. and God bless them all. But that gives them a couple of more days to get their information to me. What I need is, again, a spreadsheet with the certifications that the local coordinator is sending to me, listing all their people, with the fact that they have passed their various tests. I don't need to know scores. I don't care. All I need to know is an X in the box that says they passed, that they have done at least 4 problems, and that they have taken the portal courses. The local coordinator is responsible for having a copy of the 13615 or whatever that silly form is that's in the 6744 in case the IRS and or anyone else comes to visit and asks for it. In the 15 years I've been here, no one has ever asked for it, but we are supposed to keep it because who knows, tomorrow's a new day. The order is Pat has approved me. I will approve local coordinators once they take the test and pass it. I have the correct answers. I have one question that I cannot figure out why the IRS feels that an answer or a particular answer is correct, but and everyone who submitted a test to me has gotten it wrong. But so don't expect to get 100%. Is all I could say. But the ultimate answer is it does not matter how many you get wrong in terms of certification, as long as you pass the 80%. What does matter is that you understand, with the exception of that one question, what it is that you did wrong so that you can do it right in the future. What am I forgetting, Pat?
The workbook problems, minimum of 4. Do them all if you can, because they're really good practice for us. The minimum of 4, 2 of them have to be in the core, and 2 of them have to be comprehensive, and at least 1 of them has to be completed all the way through the state side, including the local form. With that in mind, I may pick one of them and say, this is the one you need to do, and amend it with this information. I may do that. I've done that the last couple years.
And let me add to that. And now that the e-file pages are available, I would urge you to do this all the way through to the very end.
Right.
All the way through the e-file pages, because in past years, that's, this is the first year that e-file pages has been available in Practice Lab. It's actually wonderful that they've done this, because the biggest problem we've had when we start the tax season is no one has been in the live lab, no one has actually seen what's going on, and no one understands what you have to do in the e-file pages to get a thing done. And so we flounder for the first week, trying to make sure we're doing it right. You now have the ability to practice, raise questions. You can. I will answer what I can. And if not, we will send them off to TaxSlayer or national. Some of these e-file pages require some national input. I don't even know if they're aware of some of the requirements on this page.
Just one more thing. Local coordinators, it will be up to you to decide how you want to keep track of the 4 required scenarios that everyone in your site is supposed to do. Some want to see them, some want to say it's an honor system. It's totally up to you what you want to do with that.
That does not apply to the portal courses. Mm-hmm. There is a sheet that can be generated off the portal courses. Please, the local coordinator, just verify that they're done, because if you don't, national will. And there's no point in getting into an argument with those folks, because they're right. They're always right. So please, have your people just send you a copy of that page. The tests are straightforward as to what you need to do. And as Pat said, you decide how you want to handle the problems. Linda doesn't have a workbook. We'll get you a workbook. They're on my porch. And if not, we'll figure out something else for you.
How do we send the problems that we do in the NTC book to you?
To your local coordinator?
Yes.
Create a
That-
print, you can create a print set, download it, save it, attach it to an email and send it.
yeah,
Oh, they want all that paperwork? And
You're not
is that gonna be
printing
a
it, you're
tax?
not
Is
printing
that
it,
gonna
it's
be
just a file on a computer.
That's gonna be a tax return then, correct?
no. We're not in a lot, we're in practice lab.
Right?
And so all you're doing is printing to a is saving you're doing the view print and you're saving it as a PDF file and then attaching it to an email.
Okay, is that like the last page of something, or is that just the answer of, if there
On
is
the
an
summary,
answer?
on the,
It would be the complete return.
yeah, let me go back because I'm still on this page here. I'm going to share my screen
I
again.
would say to print the QR, return.
I have too many windows open. Trying to find, oh, there it is. There are two places where you can do this, right here, where there's a print button. But the better place to do it, actually, what I would recommend you do is right up here. See where it says view print? You view print. Print your return. And then over here you have your little print button. Is that showing up on your screen? No, it's not. Why isn't it showing up? Well, okay. Let me move it down a little bit. Does that help?
No.
No, it doesn't. Okay, anyway, in the print results dialog box, in the upper right-hand corner, there is a printer icon. You click on that, you say print it as a PDF file, and just attach it to an email and send it to your LC. LCs, you do not need to keep these. You may delete them once you have verified they exist. This is not anything that is official.
So what you just described is sort of evidence that we did a return, a practice return.
Yep. And the good point about this is we don't know what the right answers are right now today. They haven't released them yet. Hopefully they will in sometime in the near future. An LC, and I will distribute them to the LCs once they've all passed their test. And it's up to the LC whether they distribute them to everybody else or whether you use this as a learning exercise to go over the practice lab returns with the individual volunteers. That's an LC choice. Okay. If anybody doesn't, I think I have 2 NTTC booklets left on my porch. It looks like Roger still has a couple. I'm down to 2 6744s and a couple of 40, and I think I have 4 4012s. If anybody does not have them and they need them, now is your last time to get them. Because I don't think I can get any more of the IRS publications. I can get more of the NTTC booklets. Okay, it is.
So Steve Elmore again, sorry.
Sure.
I'm just looking at the 6744, the test book, and so there's a bunch of different.
The tests you have to take, we've talked about this many times. You have to take the ethics, the interview, if you're an LC, the site test, and everybody has to take the advanced. Ignore all the rest. If you wish to be able to do foreign students, we do get a couple showing up, at least in Squirrel Hill, we have in past years. If you wish to be able to do those, you may feel free to take that test. It is not a requirement. If you wish to be able to do military people because you have friends and family who are military and therefore want to be able to do them properly, you are free to take the military test. I don't know that we ever have gotten the right answers to the test. So if ultimately you will have to do those at Lincoln Learn.
I'm so sorry, you went too fast for me. I'm trying to check them off in this book.
Yes.
Okay.
Steve
Standards.
Elmore, I'll talk with, are you coming back at 1 o'clock?
Yes,
I'll talk to you with you about them later this afternoon.
okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Okay. Pat, anything else?
No, but when we all come back at 1 o'clock, I am going to be going over how to enter 1099Rs correctly on the PA side. And then we're going to do another practice exercise in the workbook. So it's up to your discretion whether you want to come back or not. Everybody has to practice sooner or later, so.
Okay, yesterday wasn't quite as important. I urge you to come back at 1 o'clock, if for no other reason, is to listen to that initial presentation
Yeah.
on how to do the 1099Rs correctly. After that point, if you wish to stay on and actually do a practice, I urge you to consider doing that. We are all forgetful, and software is software, and therefore presents problems to all of us, me included. So I urge you to stay on for the afternoon, but it is your choice as to whether you do or do not.
Okay.
Okay.
See you back at 1 o'clock.
See you-
Thanks.
See you at 1 o'clock.